You're at Menacing MTG, and we have here kind of a Minotaur deck. And if you've seen the Minotaur deck in action, really it focuses around Death Bellow Warcry, which we only have two of in this deck, and it relies on getting a ton of mana on the board, 5 specifically. You need to have 5 red mana on the board, or at least 1 red mana, 3 red mana, and then you need to get an Iron Crag in your hand. So those things need to align to make this to happen. So you have to, this takes 6 turns to be able to launch this. Okay, and if you have a mana problem or you have an Iron Crag problem, you're not getting Death Bellow off. So Legend VD did a deck, a Minotaur deck that had things other than Minotaurs, but it also had the Muskwood in it from the Kaldheim set, which makes creatures every type of creature. So he had a bunch of things in that deck that allowed you to treat them as Minotaurs. And that's a great thing too, but it still requires turn 6 at the quickest to be able to launch Death Bellow. Okay? Now, I want this Death Bellow to happen in my games, but I can win without it. And one of the ways I do that is to use some other weapons to carry me through. And there are some incredibly good cards in the Kaldheim set that can really keep opponents at bay and do some serious damage. And part of that is a little mini giant theme here where we have 2 Bone Crusher Giants, which we know is an incredibly versatile card. We have a Shatterskull Charger in here, which is also a tremendous giant warrior in here. So just 3 giants, but if you can get a giant out, then Squash only costs 2. And it's just, you can deal 6 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Now, I have used Squash many times with this deck, paying 5 for it, and it's well worth it. You do get mana out quickly in this deck, and there's a few reasons why. Yeah, so you have those giants. And this just, Bone Crusher, as you know, just gives you this instant ability as well. Deal 2 damage to any target. So early game, that's just such a great thing to have. So then the question is, how do we have enough mana? How do we keep things circulating through this deck? Well, for Fire Prophecy, first of all, you can remove small creatures for 2-drop. Then you can discard a card from your hand and draw a card. Okay, so you have 4 Iron Crag feet. So if you already have 1 in your hand, you have 2 in your hand, you can ditch 1. Absolutely, there are things you can ditch. A Maze Mind you can ditch, etc., etc. So that's one thing. You got the Squash benefiting from the giants in the deck. You have Fire Prophecy allowing you to circulate cards through. You have 2 Valcut, which serve 2 purposes here. Again, you can ditch cards that you don't need and draw an additional card playing Valcut. So, but above that is that it's also a land. So I just want to point out that right here we are running 23 lands, and Faceless Haven is an excellent thing. This has kept me in games and gotten me over the hump where I can come in and bring this off the bench and take out an attacker, or bring it in as an attacker. All right, so just remember that if you bring this on the board, you cannot use it that turn. It's got summoning sickness. So now this is all snowland, so I want to talk about that too. So we're really using some kind of discrete and some not so discrete Kaldheim mechanics in here. So Frostbite, there's 3 of these in here. Frostbite is a 1-drop that does 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, it deals 3 instead. So a 1-drop dealing 3 damage, okay? 3 of those. We also have Shatterskull Smashing, another land card, and I believe there's 1 more. So yeah, we have the 2 Valcut, the 1 Shatterskull, and thought for sure we had 1 more. Oh yeah, the Kumoria. So there's 2 of these in here, and this is land. So you can see that we have 5 additional land / other things cards in here. All right. So This is 23, but we have 5 other cards, a possible 27 mana. All right, so then we have Tundra Fumarole, or Fumarole. This is a 3-drop card, an amazing card, rare, that deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Add the number of snow mana you spent in colorless mana when you cast this spell, and that does not phase out as the steps and phases end. Okay, so you can, for example, you could use this, and if you had 1 more red mana that you're not using, then you could bring on a Bone Crusher Giant. You could bring on a Maze Mind Tome, etc., etc. So an awesome card, another Kaldheim card. Let's see, what else am I missing here? We do have the Maze Mind Tomes to kind of be able to scry and draw. Then we have 4 Squash. I briefly touched on this. You can play this if you have a giant on the board for 2-drop. 4 of these. These are just killers. Between the Squash, the Frostbite, the Fumarole Roll, the Fire Prophecies, we are removing stuff like crazy in here, creatures. So then, additionally, we have Obosh in here. We have 1 copy of Obosh. And Obosh, whenever a permanent with an odd converted mana cost does damage, you do twice that much damage. Now, there is no joke that this has a ton of odd converted mana cost damage. I did not speak to Shatterskull Smashing, which you can do damage to planeswalkers and creatures, and also land. So Obosh. Now here's our subset right here. These 4 flyers can win a game. They have won games. They will win games. They're outrageous. If you get the Terror of the Peaks on, then you run Death Bellow and bring a bunch of these on, it's game over immediately. Okay? So what we have here is 3 Terror of the Peaks and 1 Goldspan Dragon. If you have Terror of the Peaks on the board, and then the next turn you bring on Goldspan Dragon, Goldspan Dragon deals, Terror of the Peaks deals 4 damage for the 4 power that Goldspan Dragon is. Then they come in, because this has haste, for 9 more flying damage. Okay, so that's 13 damage, boom, just like that. It's happened, it will happen. Both of them are odd. Make that 26 if Obosh is on the board. Okay, so you have those 4 crazy flyers. You can win without warriors, folks, with this deck. Absolutely. Just quickly, Shatterskull Charger, I want to tell you about this. This is a 3-drop 4/3 with trample and haste. You can bring it on with 3 and attack, and boom, but it comes back to your hand. If you play it with its kicker, it comes with a 1/1 counter on it, and it's a 5/4, and it stays on the board, but still has trample and haste. So very diverse card, can really put the sting in the early game. Okay, it also is odd. Obosh, got it. The majority of the creature cards and these spells too, Fumarole Roll, they're going to do huge damage. So, for example, this is going to do 8 damage. The Squash is going to do 12 damage. Okay, you can kill almost anything with these crazy things. All right, but now we've gone through all these the early mid-game stuff. Now let's talk about if and when you get Death Bellow on. Because you're rotating things through, ignore the sideboard. I got to just eliminate that. There's no sideboard here. So here are the warriors. We also have 1 Godzilla in here. And this is just in here because you do end up generating a lot of mana. And if you're able to pop off, what's this, a 7-drop? Yeah, so you can pop off with 4 mana. If you have 4 red mana, you bring this on and you have Godzilla in hand, then you can launch this guy. He's a haste 8/8 with trample, okay? There's no reason not to have him in here, because also you can just cycle with him. And that moves cards through. You want to move cards through with this Fire Prophecy, Maze Mind Tome, Yadaro, Godzilla creature. So that, and when you do cycle this card, it goes right back into your library. Gets shuffled in, okay, rather than going to the graveyard. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So we got two Akuma warriors, and we have two because they have land as well. We have one Dream Shaper Shaman. Now, this is an insane card. Okay, so if you have. Okay, so let's just read this card. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 3, sacrifice a non-land permanent. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library. So you can pull out some crazy thing like the Godzilla, like a Bone Crusher Giant, like the Goldspan Dragon, whatever. You can. It's just incredible. You get to put a card on for 3. Okay, so that's a potent card. Then we have Morog. And this card, folks, is insane. Okay, this card, each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it has attacked this turn. Okay, now that's a strange thing to say, isn't it? But when you read the second ability, Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase this turn. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. Okay, so this is how this works because I want you to get it right because I had to learn this the hard way. This card, you have to play the land after you've already attacked once. So you have this card on the board. You may or may not have other cards on the board. You attack with it and others. Then you drop your land, and then they all untap. Okay, everything untaps. Okay, I just want that to sink in a minute. I should say all creatures. On every single creature you have that is attacked or is tapped for any reason untaps when you drop a land after you've already attacked, and they get to attack again. And what this first part means is that you get to drop another +1/+0 on every one of those creatures. So let's face it, this is over the top stuff here. Shatter Skull Minotaur, haste. Okay, this is important because you do get some instant impact when running Death Bellow. You get the haste creature out here. Additionally, this costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. No big whoop there. That's really not very applicable. Okay, we already talked about Godzilla. Now the lands: 21 snow, 2 Faceless Haven. Faceless Haven has pay 3 snow lands, and this becomes a 4/3 creature with vigilance. Okay, and it's still a land. It goes back off to become a land again after you're done with it. So there's the deck. It's flipping insane. Okay, I hope you enjoy it. If you have the cards and you can build this deck, it is super fun. There's a lot of older cards in here. It is standard though. Please do the subscribe routine. I really appreciate that. Creates a lot of motivation for me to see new subscribes coming up. You know, I'm a newbie still, less than 3 months under my belt. I've produced a crap load of decks, over 60, and I think they're pretty darn good decks. I'm not as flashy as some commentators. I'm not going to be out there and wildly funny, but if you like cool decks, I'm trying to do some unique stuff here. So yeah, subscribe's important to me. Thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoy the games. Okay, a good looking hand here. We're going to use Valakut right away. We go first. Land, land, land. We need a lot of land here. We do have Frostbite to remove small stuff. Okay, Archfiend. We can kill that. We will. Hate to do it. You know, it's scary if they have a means of bringing him back, like a Luris or something. Then it's going to be a 5/5 demon. Serrated Scorpion. Now, we need to have 5 mana to be able to run this. Oh boy, if we can. Because 5 mana gets us to Ironcrag, so we're just going to have to be patient here. And okay, Akum is a land, so we can use that. We're going to go right ahead and use this now, so that we're free and clear next turn. So next turn we're able to get Death Bellow on the board, and some amazing things are going to happen. Now if I was to wait one more turn and go Terror of the Peaks next turn, then it would be game over when I do it, and I think maybe that's what I'll do. Let's see what we draw. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go Terror of the Peaks here. They're going to be cracking the Fabled Passage here. They may want to see if they can get me to kill a Serrated Scorpion, which I will not. I do not know why they did not crack that Fabled Passage last turn. That was absolutely foolish. Heartless Act, okay. I'm not sure what they're thinking here, but we will go Death Bellow, and we do have a kill spell in hand. Okay. Why are they not cracking the Fabled Passage? I just don't know. There it goes. And this should do it, folks. Okay, and next turn should be the Big Ugly. And we can do the landfall thing too, which is just going to be ultra devastating. They do have some blockers, but that will benefit them in the life department. Okay, they're going to get something out of my hand, and I will get rid of the Akum. Does have trample, but that's okay, because we're going to get 2 turns. Oh my goodness. This is unbelievable. Unfortunately, I don't think I have enough Minotaurs to do this. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to attack. Okay, and what they're not expecting is the following. Oh my goodness. That is it, folks, in style. Okay, so that's Minotaurs and more right there. I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing and all that stuff. Thanks for watching. Have a great one. Okay, here we are. Decent hand. Yeah, it looks like not enough mana, but we do have Valakut, and we're going to use that for mana immediately. We do also have Oakwom Warrior, and we can use that for land if needed. Let's just get started with Valakut. Okay, white, that's worrisome. We did get additional land, that's good. Would like to hold on to Valakut. We'll see what happens here. We have some items that can get cards moving around with the Fiery Prophecy and the Maze Mind Tome. Okay. We don't have much exile, but we can overwhelm them fairly quickly with some luck. Okay, so the question is, what do I sack, if anything? I think I'm going to put Elquim away and draw a card, and I get another Fire Prophecy. Okay. We're going to want to get to Terror of the Peaks as fast as possible. And this is a great card to play after Terror of the Peaks because it'll do 4 damage, then they can both come in. So high potency, high impact, that could be 13 damage very fast, and the next turn end the game if they don't have removal. And we're a little ways away from that, but this is the deal. We can continue to kind of whack them, and this is why Fire Prophecy is valuable in this deck. We have 5 mana now. The question is, do we move Maze Mine through? And I am going to move Maze Mine through, and we get another land. Okay. So in 2 turns, Terror of the Peaks, hope it lasts. 3 turns, the dragon comes on, and big bad things happen. Okay. And here's the hard part. Making it to that point, you know that this has Zenith Flare in it. They have 6 cards in the graveyard, and they are all cycling cards. Make that 7. Make that 8. 7. Okay. Now we can make some things happen here. And typically, this deck does not have a lot of weapons for taking bigger creatures off the board. So they don't have anywhere near enough land for Zenith Flare. I'm surprised by that with all the cycling they've done. There's a 3rd, so we're going to want to get moving. So at the very least, we can come out and whack them for 13 next turn, unless something goes haywire here. Then we have Akum next the following turn, and it's game over. Let's see what they can do. Okay, I like where this is going. So we have another Terror of the Peaks. And do we go with that, or do we go with the haste? I think we're going to go with the Terror of the Peaks. It does 5 damage. I'm not going to worry about those creatures, actually. It's better that they're on the board. So right now they have 8 cycled cards. If they got a land and could run Zenith Flare, they would gain 8 life, which would be horrible. But we're going to get double if, okay, they're going to gain a little life here if they can cycle. We may be able to end them next turn because we're going to do 8 damage just by bringing this on. They didn't get a land, and this game is over, folks. So here we go. Let's have a look at this. 8 by bringing him on, and then 14 coming in the air. Good game. This is absolutely vicious. Everything to face. We're all airbound here, and it's all over. A huge victory there. Absolutely stunning.